We're all silently hanging in shame here.
One moment of technical difficulties here on
Hoping you all can hear me now. Okay, I don't know what happened there. Thanks for bearing with us. I was just so taken aback by Grapes calling us out for our predictions. You guys are complicit in this too. You predicted Cincinnati Fear. That's all I have to say about that. But yeah, our 2-0s definitely looking bad. And I'm just going to get right into this. Veteran, I'm loving this word association thing because I asked you what word you think of when you think of City Witty, and you said farming.
Yeah.
And that guy farmed 7 kindred stacks by like 20 minutes.
That is true. We also ended up with the winning lane states they're looking for. These are all heavy belief states. Yes, Twitch Yumi is like a technical counter in towards the affiliates Lulu, but they lose priority early, and that's what TG wanted. This Kindred was able to do what she wanted in the jungle, which was farm, scale, be an AD carry threat that could match Sketch later on in the fights, and also help his team survive the initial onslaught. We are used to seeing comeback games from Cincinnati Fear, but this was a scenario where they gave Tucker Gaming everything they want. Tucker Gaming were at their most comfortable with a comp like this. They've gotten that before in the tournament, and that's how they've managed to make it this far. So I hope Fear doesn't decide to just roll over, roll out the red carpet, and rely on those tier 3 comebacks next game, because clearly that's not going to work. I'm pretty sure we jinxed the whole series anyway by unanimously predicting them.
I mean, entirely possible. It definitely was a lot of comfort for Taco Gaming. It's the signature Kindred for City Witty. It's the signature Lulu for Rovex. It's a roaming mid laner for Shochi. It is exactly what we expect from this team. And I think the other side of the story for this game is we talked about Cincinnati Fear being a proactive early game team that doesn't necessarily need to win early game to win the game, but they have often gotten ahead and then closed out through really, really clean team fighting. And this time, it just didn't really work out for them. Lux, they tried to make proactive plays from very early on, particularly attacking the bot side, but there were not a lot of successes here.
Yeah, you can see here the Talia wall just completely kind of blocks off 2 of their teammates, and the tower is just going crazy on both the Azir and the Twitch afterward. But honestly, the Talia roams were really big because, you know, Twitch and Yumi kept trying to make a little invisibility play, but then Talia would show up. And I feel like with the Zen pick, it would have been nice to see something a little more aggressive in the mid lane rather than Azir to kind of counteract those Talia roams.
And it is just like the worst feeling when you're playing that Zen Zhao against a champion like Kindred, right? And you're trying to make plays because, you know, Kindred is just going to like try to swallow all your jungle camps, right? But it felt like every play that Trickster made, including this one that you just broke down for us, right? Like, it didn't get enough. It was either a 1-for-1 or a 2-for-1, right? It was never this big, explosive 2-for-0 bot dive. You're denying waves, you're denying plates. It just doesn't really feel like that came to fruition. And maybe, is there something out of Cincinnati Fear's game plan that you would like to see adjusted in order to have it be an easier time getting those big plays that they're looking for?
I feel like the synergy between their champions is a little bit lacking this game. I feel like you know, the Taco synergy between their champs was actually a little better. The Yumi and Twitch was nice, but I feel like overall, like, the comp was lacking a little bit of synergy. So maybe getting a little synergy champion wise will help them. If they're gonna pick Zen, pick something that can combo with it. You know, a more aggressive mid laner, like I said. So I think that could be big for them.
What I really loved in that particular clip as well is that while Trickster is doing the map play on bot side, what is City Witty doing? He's picking up all of the waves on midsection there, which is significantly worth more than the camps that he has. So he was also a perpetual ticking time bomb in this game, even with all that chaos going on the bot lane. Every time you're looking bot lane and seeing this chaos, City Witty is getting that little bit closer to carrying the later on fights.
Yeah, I really do think my favorite part of this game was when Grapes and Smack saw the Kindred stat count for the first time, and they're like, wait, he's only 002, and he's actually turbo fed. Like, what happened? Yeah, and credit to City Witty for having that awareness. Sorry, go ahead, Lux.
It's okay. If they had picked something a little more aggressive in another solo lane, they could have invaded the Kindred and possibly shut her down more. Whereas they picked an Azir, which kind of just says to Kindred, I'm Azir, I'm going to sit mid, I'm going to farm. And, you know, Zen's not going to have too much help if he's going to try to invade. So I feel like a more aggressive pick in a solo lane could have shut her down a bit more.
Yeah, for sure. And we can see in the second replay, what happens when you're not able to, Veteran?
Yep, I mean, look here, you see City Witty is already a monster, he's already able to hold his own damage-wise, and Sketch, he's trying to get all of his all in there, but City Witty was too much of a threat to him initially, and then when he finally isolates City Witty, he still has the ultimate up, did not have to use it at any point beforehand. Just look at the damage coming out. They barely saw City Witty in the game before this fight, but he enters as a force, doing damage himself, and able to counter the all-in composition coming from Cincinnati Fear.
Right, and so now looking ahead to game number 2, Cincinnati Fear, the universal favorite apparently to win this series, is up backs against the wall. We talked a little bit about it already, but Veteran, I'll ask just maybe a little bit more in detail as far as Cincinnati Fear. They clearly just didn't have enough agency to deal with the scaling, right? Do they need to maybe go more scaling themselves, perhaps? Was that the issue? Or do you think that... I don't know. I'll open it up to you. I'll leave it pretty broad.
I mean, I think you can't necessarily change the gameplay things I saw here, because I don't think they should be fighting at that point. I think they should be willing to fight in a more defensive position anyway. But if you are going to fight like this, then what I would prefer to see would be a little bit more peel for Sketch, right? Maybe instead of doing these kinds of Yumi picks, we start going on towards these more tank picks. Not necessarily hard engage picks, but just things that can make sure that your Twitch is safe and can
create
output
space,
carry.
maybe.
Create space and initiate those all-ins for him. I like these kinds of things for them, because ultimately, if they're just going to fight like this, you know, they're going to need something like that to control City Witty. You have to control this guy if you're going to let him scale.
Awesome. Finding more control will be potentially the name of the game for Cincinnati Fear. Lux, last thing before we kind of go in. I mean, Taco, again, it feels like they had exactly what game plan they wanted. I'd be surprised if they were able to get the exact same composition again for this game. But what do you want to see out of them in order to close out the 2-0?
I think, kind of like I said before, that disrupting City Witty's jungle path could be good. Picking something that has a bit of prio in the mid or top lane that could help, an aggressive jungler, maybe invade, get some vision on where he's at, and just at least try to keep him from power farming. That's what I think would work best, since they do want to pick lanes with prio. Taco wants to pick lanes with prio, so they could counteract it with some other prio, or they could just try to stall. Like Veteran said, I feel like they didn't stall the game out long enough on that last one, and kind of went for plays they didn't necessarily need to go for, and should have just played for the super long 50-minute game with the Twitch in the Azir.
Awesome. Well, we'll see, because it sounds like to me, Taco Gaming, they just need to keep that prio, keep their foot on the gas pedal, and not allow Cincinnati Fear to wrest control over the game, perhaps. We're going to get underway with game number 2. Take it away.
Did he just forget our name?
I think he did.
Names? Did he? Okay, I know he had the whole thing where I kept calling you Hawk and I kept calling Hawk Smacks and back and forth, but looks like he's kind of returning the favor a little bit towards us this time around. Welcome back, everybody, to the caster desk, where Taco Gaming, to the surprise of essentially everybody here on the unified staff, took a very solid win over the Cincinnati Fear. And of course, the hero was City Witty, but a lot of the other pieces on Taco Gaming also had to step up to get this victory.
And you know, my favorite Star Guardian is Talia, and Shochi did play the Talia, and you know, he may have been the Star Guardian on the Rift, but the Star Guardian of our hearts is Rovex. There he is.
Oh, so
you can
beautiful.
buy his album today on all platforms.
Shout out Deserex, man. He can do music. He makes music like album covers and everything like that. What an amazing set of things. I love how the face is just beautiful, perfectly angled at the right position. He just found the absolute like best picture to kind of. Can we roll that again? Like just like the face is just in the best spot. I mean, it's just really good to see. Thank you very much, Deserex. Thank you very much, Rovex. But for the side of Taco Gaming, a win here, very, very crucial. As for Rovex and his squad, I was taking a look at some of the playoff implications. Shout out Rudude and Colomer for putting together a big foldy sheet that helps determine all the different people that will be in the top 6, top 10, and etc. And I'm pretty sure that in nearly every single situation where both AoE and Taco Gaming win the games here on the Academy stream, Taco Gaming make top 6. So this, again, just hankering down on how important this series is for both of these teams.
Yeah. Well, for Taco Gaming, you heard it here. They need to win this game, and they're fans of AoE Ginger Turmeric, who may or may not be reverse sweeping Maryville as we speak. but I don't want to spoil it until it actually happens. I may have been watching the second stream while listening to our lovely analysts. Shout out to our analysts, by the way. They're doing a great job. I'm having a great
Incredible
time
job.
listening to them.
I think it's Lux's first time on like a broadcast like this, and she is absolutely killing it and doing a very good job, providing a lot of really interesting like kind of insights into the competitive sphere that maybe wouldn't have been able to get anywhere else.
Yeah. And you know, if you like her on this stream, you can follow her on twitch.tv/Lux with 2 X's. So definitely do that. I did that earlier today when I saw that she was going to be on the stream. Big fan. Anyway, we're back into the draft. Taco Gaming back onto blue side, where they will find themselves banning Seraphine one more time, and seeing the Cincinnati Fear are continuing to spend a lot of pressure onto this jungle. Now the question is going to be, does City Witty get the Kindred banned away this time? I think the answer should probably be yes.
Probably yes. I feel like this is a pick that is pretty synonymous alongside the Karthus when you think of City Witty. It looks like the bans on Taco Gaming side are remaining basically the same at the moment, that Seraphine's still taken away on blue. The sides have not swapped whatsoever, both of these teams, so it's going to have to be the deviations on Fear's side, because if you're Taco Gaming and you won that game that handily, wouldn't be surprised to just want to run it back again.
And we were talking a lot about City Witty's Kindred in that last game, and for good reason. He got so many stacks, and he was a huge carry in that game. But I think it's time that we gave props to what I consider to be the setup for the big carry, and that is Shochi. Shochi's Taliyah was absolutely filthy in that game. The wall placement was phenomenal, and you can tell a good Taliyah player from like an okay Taliyah player based on how well they play with the Taliyah ultimate. I play a lot of Taliyah, but I'm not a great Taliyah player because I can't do that. But I know that Shochi can because I just watched it in front of our screen so many times in that game, not to mention the setup that he had with it too. So I hope to see him play that one more time. I think he's set up very well for the farming style that we love to see from City Witty, even though the Kindred is still banned.
It's taken away. A bit curious about this Gnar first pick. I feel like this is not a normal encounter that we see, and it also allows for the Taliyah to be taken away by Cincinnati Fear. They saw how good Shochi was on it, and they saw how good City Witty was on the Kindred, so they said, hey, we're going to take away 1, we're going to take away 2 on the pick phase. And I think this is a really good pick for Fear as well, either if it's in the hands of Trickster or Blaze.
It's a robbery in broad daylight. Well, at least where you are, Grapes.
It is broad daylight.
The sun is definitely down where I am. But I think it's morning for you, right?
It is, yeah. Currently morning for me over in Seoul, South Korea. I have like the shades closed right now because I don't want to, it ruins the lighting a little bit here. So it still kind of looks like nighttime here, but regardless, looking pretty good here. Look at are you going to show us the?
It is nighttime.
Just pretend it's nighttime on both of the angles, right?
That is the time of day that it is where I am. But speaking of the draft a little bit further, we do have Gangplank as a blind pick, or not a blind pick, excuse me, a counter pick again for Dragoon up in the top lane. I did go for the Trinity Force build in the previous one. Played it pretty well, but it just wasn't able to get to the team fights because everything was kind of spiraling out of control before Dragoon and before a top laner can really do a whole lot in general. But we have a few champions that can certainly do some spiraling on the other side here. Taco Gaming, they've got Viego, big reset champion in those team fights, and another setup for Shochi in this Lissandra.
Yeah, this is very similar concept maybe to the Taliyah in terms of what Shochi will want to do is roaming around the map using a lot of the crowd control that he has in his kit to pick off members in the side lanes. But the response for Fear is interesting. Blaze is going to be locking in a Yone. I think a lot of times at the beginning of this season, we saw Lissandra as a counter pick to a blind Yone that ended up coming up. But now the roles are being reversed a little bit. Blaze wanting this matchup because it ended up working really well in a lot of the games that we've seen earlier on in this tournament.
It also does mean that it is Taliyah in the jungle for Trickster. So a very different look of that champion in specific. Much less focused on roaming from the mid lane and getting a lot of that damage. You can still go for a lot of the damage, but it's harder to make that big impact on that side lane. Like after the fact, you do have a lot of jungle duties, and you can't really go off into a side lane with like a Baron is up or something because you're the person that has smite. So something to think about here for Trickster as we do see him piloting that champion. I will say, Champion farms faster than Viego most of the time, so a bit of a shift in the jungles here.
Yeah, it's kind of laying down the gauntlet here. You're gonna pick the Viego. We're gonna pick something that clears a little bit faster because again, that's what City really likes to do. Likes to go for the full clears, become a really big menace later on into the game, and we'll see how big of an impact Trickster can have here in the jungle himself. Both bot lanes still to be selected for these teams. We're gonna start off with a Sketch Dreams Jinx, which is a very exciting one to say the least, Max. This is, I mean, kind of an oldie but goodie here for Sketch.
The Jinx from Arcane locked in. Lot of late game again for Cincinnati Fear. They've got the Gangplank and the Jinx in this comp. And this could mean that Taco Gaming want to play more towards that early. Okay, there's more Aphelios, you know. Maybe we're getting a hint as to what Gorica thinks is the second best AD carry in the game after Draven with Aphelios.
Yeah, I guess so. Down the tier list we go. And it's just pick that worked pretty well for Gorica in game number 1. Didn't have the highest damage numbers, but really didn't need it because of all the spacing that Citywitti and Shochi were able to provide that game. Gorica was a very solid backup option if they needed it and was able to pick up a couple of kills of his own later on. They're going to round out that bot lane again with Robux on the Lulu, setting up a really strong bot lane 2v2 against whatever Sketch and Flux have to offer.
You know, Grapes, I really love the champion Thresh, and I think it's really cool. I also think it's really weak in today's meta right now, but if there was ever a game to play Thresh, this is the one. You have a immobile AD carry that really appreciates the Lantern. You have a lot of not mobile champions on the other side that you can hook very easily.
Oh.
Okay, I mean, this is close to that in the second part of it. You don't have the Lantern for utility for your Jinx, but you do still have a lot of engage onto the Aphelios and Lulu, and I like that idea a lot from Flux.
Yeah, we were talking about how Flux has become a bit of a more multifaceted support player over the past couple of years, and you can see it in action in the quarterfinals, locking into Yuumi in game number 1. Of course, the Tribe of True, but now here back on a heavy engaged support in the Leona. I think it matches up pretty well to what Taco Gaming want to do and leaves a pretty well-rounded composition that Fear have selected for themselves.
I agree. Cincinnati Fear, they're more able to do things early game, which is something that we really wanted to see from them. They didn't really have a lot of agency in early, which led to them falling behind and then losing all hope of agency later on also. This does fix that a lot, and yeah, we'll see if it works. They're against a few champions that are durable but not mobile, so it's possible. You just have to hope that you don't get hit with the 1-2 punch of the Lissandra ulti and then the Lulu ulti.
I think the big thing that I want to watch here in this game is kind of how the junglers interact. Again, we were talking about how Citywitti and Trickster are kind of the marquee matchup when it comes to these two teams. We had the little graphic that played earlier with all the stats, and Citywitti had, of course, that remarkable game number 1 on the Kindred, but now forced onto something a little bit different. Trickster kind of trying to match fire with fire in terms of the clear speed a little bit more, and it might be the difference maker to send Fear to that game 3 to keep themselves alive here in the Proving Ground Circuit Qualifier.
And as we load into the game, I think it's a good time, Grapes, to let everyone in on a little secret. Something that went down in the content.
You're gonna expose me right now?
I'm going to expose everybody that is on the broadcast team for Unified. There was a bet that went on in the content meeting on whether or not this series would be over or under 60 minutes total in game time. And that, obviously, if you saw the caster predictions, was assuming that Cincinnati Fear would do very well.
There it is.
Oh, look.
Oh, I just
Perfect.
look really dumb right now. The me is actually Alk Battery, our content coordinator here at the Proving Ground Circuit Qualifier. So looks like they are doing a little bit better right now.
Wow.
In terms of the prediction. Man, this is just.
I love the Comic Sans
really...
notepad screenshot. I can't believe we got this so fast.
Even more tools for Taco Gaming to use against us if they end up winning the series. Just even more firepower to kind of throw at them. Well, I'll take it. If we are wrong here, we are wrong. And
no, okay.
Like so
the reason I bring it up is because if Taco Gaming wins in 32 minutes, then you actually are right. Except you're right in the wrong way.
Taco Gaming did get 2-0'd, but 2-0'd in their favor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it,
Okay.
it could be under
So-
an hour of game time.
It was the big brain all along here as we start off game number 2. Early trading down in the bot lane 2v2. Gorka and Robex have the range advantage, but you can see already the engaged potential that Flux on this Leona will have. The both junglers starting up in the top side, so you know this bot lane is going to be a factor later on.
I really like the aggression very early on by Flux. It's tricky to really get a favorable trade when you do that, especially at level 1. However, the damage that you can get onto Gorica does matter quite a bit.
Ooh.
So I think it's a good idea regardless. And in a lane where you really do need to all in, all of that damage matters a lot.
Well, what also matters a lot for this series, Specs, is what just happened over on the Path to LCS stream. Area Effect Ginger Turmeric taking a 2-1 victory over Maryville University. So you're nearing in on perfect predictions right now, Smacks. You got both AoE teams making it into the semi-finals. Really good stuff out of them, but it also means Maryville stuck now in the lower bracket and maybe gives Taco Gaming a bit of an easier angle. They're going to still try to win against Fear, as you see right here. Trickster going for the invade, but City Witty actually punishing here on his own invade, smiting away the wolf, going in for the Spectral Maw, and picking up first blood. Getting a reset now. Will get locked in under the tower, so it is the trade. But a nice play from the likes of City once again to start this game off.
Wow, that's surprisingly greedy from Trickster there. He had flash the entire time, and he did see that City Witty had already committed his flash of his own. I think he just didn't realize how short the cooldown of Spectral Maw was, which is Viego's stun, because he definitely could have flashed something there, but chose not to in the end. Does get first blooded. City Witty off to the races once more. I really like what his idea of also using the Viego passive to try to dodge the re-engage. It just was a little mistimed.
Fortunately, yeah, got locked in under the turret and basically led to no hope of him ending up surviving. So it was a valiant effort. And of course, just putting pressure in onto Trickster early on is something that is going to be very important if you are the likes of City Witty on this Viego. Very good start again here for Taco Gaming. Still a lot of game left to play. Oh, this is... Okay, I think the patience is fine. He's going to get both. Yeah, okay.
I was slightly concerned there. I shouldn't be concerned because junglers are just better than me at the game. Jungle. I've been trying to learn how to play the role. It's not going incredibly well. Like I'm figuring stuff out, which is good. Because before I didn't know anything about jungle, but now I know like some things about jungle. It's just like the camp leashing thing is so hard for me to like.
Yeah, with all the
out.
patience.
Yeah, I know.
Like, if I was playing there, yeah, that blue buff would have ran all the way back to its spawn, and then we just have to start over again. Ruin all
it would have done what Young did to the buff in the
Yeah,
last series, where it just like ran all the way to the dragon pit for some reason. It's like, okay, I deserve this. Dragon, speaking of spawning.
Maybe that mountain,
Just
a little bit
a
of
happy
extra
little
durability.
guy.
Yeah, well, it's a little angry actually.
That's actually a common misconception. See,
roar of
the
joy?
mountain dragon, its face is just like that, you know. But you get when you hang around dragons a lot, you get to know like their tendencies and their facial expressions and everything. And looking at that dragon, I can tell you that dragon is very, very happy to be here. Wagging its
hanging out
tail.
with
and
a-
everything.
Yeah, I guess so. It appears you know a little bit. I guess playing all the jungle has yielded you a little bit more time with the dragons than I have at this
Yeah,
point.
maybe I'm learning the wrong
I'm gonna take your
things.
word for it. not the patience and the clearing. It's
Yeah. I can't play the game, but I know what the dragon's thinking. Splux.
Yeah.
Going for some vision here in the bottom side river, trying to find some way to get to said dragon. Doesn't really seem like it's going to work out, though, as all of Taco Gaming is down here, apart from Lawrence.
Ooh, man, they're going for another aggressive play here. There comes the stun in on the likes of Trickster and Shochi picking up the kill. Really aggressive dive coming forward from Taco Gaming. They're going to get another one, a double kill into the Lissandra. And Sketch might not be long for this world. Teleport coming in from Blaze to try and disengage. And now City Witty transformed as Leona. Gonna have to run away here. Taco Gaming still looking pretty strong. And then they get 2 kills off that extended trade. But Blaze looking for more. Landing the Fate Seals. Gorica taking a whole chunk of damage as well. Sketch has been unlocked. Gets 1 reset. Gets another one. The Cannon Barrage finishes the job in onto City Witty. And Sketch now chasing down Rovex, forcing the flash out of the Lulu. Really great response from Fear to get back into this game.
Oh, Taco Gaming! Recalling in the wrong spot is not the way you want to lose your lead. As Rovex is... Okay, he's gonna be okay. I think we can assume that based on going over to this replay as we get to see Taco Gaming very telegraphed in their movement. Honestly, I feel like we do have spectator vision, of course, but you can see that they're setting up for this play and they're not revealing themselves on the mid lane. So it's really scary for Fear to actually go for this play. And they don't acknowledge that though. Trickster dies with his flash up one more time, and they give over all of these kills. And they even, Taco Gaming, they forced this teleport also. This is a successful play. At this point, this play is perfect. You just can't press the B button right here.
They're on the ward. Yeah.
Yeah.
There goes Blaze.
Man. It's so tragic. And the Gangplank ultimate is just so good there too. Shout out to Dragoon in that play. You can't see him. You can see his impact. Even forcing the flash out of Rovex.
Kill as well. Nice little chunk of gold for just pressing one singular button. And you can see where a lot of the gold for Fear went off of that extended re-engage. Sketch now leading all players here with about a 300 gold lead over Shochi at this point. Now it's Fear who are in the driver's seat here and there. It's still a very close game, of course, but when you take a look at how that fight ended up turning around, it looks like Fear might have hit a bit of a turning point off of that win.
I definitely say that, yeah. They've got so much scaling on their team too that is really going to help quite a bit. They also didn't have to worry about the dragon being taken either, because Taco Gaming were going to recall had they not been stopped by the Fate Sealed. And instead, they don't get to recall, they don't get to live even, so the dragon is still alive. And look at this, Cincinnati Fear even are able to take a couple of plates in the bottom lane. Whoa, wait.
Yeah, look at the response on the other side of the map. Shochi has to flash away from the Fate Seal, but in comes City Witty, in comes the lockdown, and that is a nice shutdown in onto Blaze. Look at the response though from Trickster, using the Weaver's Wall to get into a good position, flashing away from the Heartbreaker, but City Witty just does too much damage, nearly killing off Trickster. Taco Gaming respond right back in the mid lane.
Oh man, and now Taco Gaming are trying to force in the bottom lane. Plux is in position though.
Here comes the Blended Blade landing in onto Rovex. No ultimate available onto him, so no extra survivability, but watch the Moonlight Vigil. Sketch's health bar is ticking low. In comes the Gravitum as well, but the kill finally goes into the hands of the Jinx, who is now excited to try and survive here in the 2v2. Sectramal looking to charge, but not fired off, as another kill goes the way of Cincinnati.
Oh man, Gorka was so close to getting the shutdown there. Did you see his ultimate? It was tanked up by Plux. If Plux wasn't in the way, then he would have been able to get all of that damage onto Sketch and force the kill, taking the shutdown. Unfortunate there for Gorka, and it means that yet another kill is over to Sketch Dreams. That's a full Kraken Slayer before 10 minutes here, Grapes. That is success for a marksman.
You know, when we were talking about the two players that we wanted to highlight in this game, Taco Gaming, it was City Witty, had a great Kindred game in game number 1. Game number 2, it was Sketch, the veteran, really wanted to highlight. You can see the impact that he's already having here on the Jinx. The Twitch game, of course, didn't necessarily get off to the best start, but it looks like a pretty good spot this time around.
Whoa, that's some tiny text. Let me read it out for you. EG Prodigies needs Taco to lose both games against Fear. Otherwise, they join Maryville, DK Crew, and CLG as the 4th play-in team for Proving Grounds. Well, Taco did not lose both games. I have bad news for EG.
I think he means like the next both games. You know what I mean? Like,
does he mean
after
that?
We
need another column or tweet for clarification.
Okay. Caller, if you're watching, maybe a little bit of clarification here. I'm pretty sure that's what he meant. We need to win this series, basically, for EGP to be in that top 6, which, again, going back to kind of the general scope of how things have opened up with the amateur scene, was not something that many people were expecting, especially when this EGP roster got announced.
That's true. They did lose in both quarterfinals. This time felt like less of an underperformance and more just they played against a really good AoE on a really good day. I think last time it felt a little bit worse. Not to say that Team Pending didn't deserve that win, but I think EGP didn't really show up on the day. So, yeah, that just goes to show that like one underperformance on one day can be the difference in making it into that top 6. So we'll see how that plays out. I'm sure the math will be fully locked in after today. Flash out of City Witty.
He might not get locked in right now. Dodging away from all sorts of crowd control. Blaze has to take the tether back. Heartbreaker away from City, and he ends up surviving. But now Shoshi in a bit of a bad spot. Solar Flare goes out, not landing the stun, but there comes the flash to follow. City Witty going down. The Cannon Barrage from Dragoon picking up another kill.
So much follow-up onto City Witty. He uses both of his ultimate and his flash to get out. Speaking of flashes to leave, there's Robex.
Robex gonna have to use his, but he gets blocked in by the Zenith Blade as well. Plux doesn't have the flash to follow up. It looks like Robex will end up surviving. No dragon for the taking, but Fear have full priority around the bottom side of the map.
They absolutely do, and they've had it for most of this game at this point. Sketch with that Kraken Slayer is nigh unkillable and definitely unbeatable in terms of the damage. Doing so much work in this bottom lane. Rift Herald used, as I think it was probably just going to time out, but it's sent up into the top lane, which again further isolates Gorica in this bottom lane. He's going to just have to deal with the fact that he is down in items to Sketch Dreams this entire game.
He's pretty down in items, I think. It's interesting that they're trying to feed more gold into Lawrence, who maybe they believe has a better chance at becoming a major factor in this game, and might start with another dive in onto Dragoon. Saw it didn't really work out last time around, but maybe a couple of new champions in the wings could be impactful. The Rift Herald comes out, getting a couple of plays, but here comes Fear on the response. Trickster does not have the Weaver's Wall, so they won't be able to gap close just yet. So it just looks like the plates will be taken off of that Rift Herald.
That's the downside of dropping your Rift Herald in your own fountain. The entire enemy team sees where it is, and they can have a really solid response to it. So no possibility of that first turret. I will say, it did quietly give Gorica 160 gold, because he was able to take one plate, knowing that everyone was top. So, nice.
Yeah, and actually he's ahead pretty much in CS as well, but into the mid lane, the action does not stop. Shochi getting locked down here, but doing a decent amount of crowd control himself. Rovex getting caught out here with those rocks from Trickster, but it looks like nobody will die just yet in the mid lane.
This is a lot of damage on Dragoon.
Lawrence, he's approaching Mega.
Oh
He's gonna
my
go for it.
God.
That's the solo kill.
A solo bolo for Lauren C up in the top lane. Whoa, that's
Wow.
crazy. You know what? Maybe giving Lawrence all those plates with the Rift Herald was a good idea after all.
And now might be in a bit of a weird spot here. Trickster was not able to land that shove. Lawrence just waiting for the wave to arrive from the turret. And look at that first brick now secured by the Taco Gaming top laner. Now 37 CS up, has the kill, and is really becoming a big factor here in this game.
All right, we have Columnar
Not the
clarification.
clarification.
Shout out to Columnar clarification. Taco Gaming needs to lose this series for Evil Genius's Prodigies to lock top 6. And I assume if Taco wins, then Taco is in? Is that... I don't know. Am I getting too in the weeds
I
here?
think so. There's
Do we need,
like
do we need
couple
a
of...
third clarification from Columnar?
There's like a team pending thing in there, maybe. I'm not 100% sure. We'll figure it out as we go. We'll let the other guys kind of do the math as we kind of have to cover this game here, Smacks. There comes the lockdown. Corica will get punished for the overextension. Sketch now on a rampage. He's 4-0.
Yeah, you know what? Let's stop talking about the points. If you want to know what's going on there, just look at Columar's Twitter. We're done. But, you know... No, stop it! Just go to Columar's Twitter. Thank you.
Or Hyper. Ask Hyper.
You could also go to Hyper's Twitter. He probably has something. Anyway, Gorica is dead for a third time. He does finally get his Mythic. He probably wanted to have that one before he got ganked by 3 people. So now he has Gale Force. A lot more safety on the champion now. And he's gonna need it because he keeps getting killed by this Jinx.
Yeah, definitely a little bit of escape potential is going to be huge, but the fight now revolves around this dragon. Robux getting caught up by a big barrel. Blaze chasing down City Witty all the way down middle lane. Robux gets knocked up by a shove. He will go down as well. It is 2 kills for Cincinnati Fear. Only 3 of them remain, but here comes the Moonlight Vigil. Going to do a lot of damage here. Sketch has to flash away, but does get locked down by the Glacial Prison. And another kill picked up for TG as well as Blaze falls. And look at the damage that Lawrence is able to provide. Flashing forward is Gorica, getting the kill on a Trickster. And Dragoon gets exhausted as well. This is going to be another ace for Taco Gaming. And they're going to be able to at least pick up this Ocean Dragon.
Lawrence is the difference maker in this game right now, Grapes. This Gnar is doing everything as they spike back up in the gold, taking away the Ocean Dragon, evening that up as well. Absolutely ridiculous stuff from the top laner of Taco Gaming here. I cannot believe it.
There were so many different things that Lawrence did so well. We're going to take a look at this replay once again. First of all, watch Blaze just chase Citywidy down 100 to 0. Then after that,
just gets
the fight
Yonade.
just kind of turns around.
That's a solo kill, by the way. This Blaze doesn't even need any help. And Trickster gets the bump onto Rovex. So this is, by all accounts, a 3v5 that Taco Gaming is now engaging into. Lawrence gets his Mega at the exact right time, bumps Trickster in a bad spot, and forces the stasis out of Flux. And then look at the Jinx, the effigy there from the Lissandra passive.
Yeah.
That is actually super impactful. It's like you're getting flanked by your own team. It's like you effectively Renata ulted them. That's crazy.
It's kind of a different form of, you know, opposing like your own team firing back at you a little bit. But really important part of Lissandra's kit is Shochi doing a really good job in this game. Fear, though, continuing to look for the aggression, but watch Lawrence coming in off of the teleport flank, nearing the Mega Gnar. Sketch goes down before the fight really can even take off. Weaver's wall away from Trickster to try to escape, and Flux has to flash away as well. Taco Gaming starting to run away with this game.
Sketch is eliminated so fast, and he is the one who has all of the gold on their team. He has 2 items already here, Grapes, so him dying means the rest of these team fights are completely impossible for Cincinnati Fear until way later in the game when they have their Gangplank online. It's going to be a while before that happens, and Taco Gaming continuing to find these picks is so huge for them. Shochi again and again and again. The crowd control is wild from this Lissandra, and it's used super, super well.
Becoming another big factor there in this game. Sketch has kind of been the target really heavily for Fear by Taco Gaming for ever since, you know, we started talking about how far ahead he was in this game. And it's kind of shown off as the ability for Taco to keep going for these picks, whether it's with Shochi, with Lawrence on the Gnar. They just really have a ton of tools to go and lock down one of the main carries of Cincinnati Fear. And after that, really not much they could do.
That's sort of the difference here with the supports, the champions they're playing, I should say, because Rovex is playing this Jinx, or the Lulu, I should say. You have all of these tools to save your marksman, and Leona just doesn't do that. It's Lawrence.
Might have been the hero in the last fight, but probably not going to survive this 1v4. Big shutdown going into the hands of Trickster. He gets his first kill and a nice little treasure hunter passive as well.
A huge commitment down in that bottom lane. The treasure hunter. Wait, does he have that? That's pretty
It was
big.
either that or it might have been first strike, or it's both.
It could be both. Yeah, I guess. That was the last one he needed, probably, if it is. Oh no, he only has 4 KP. Can we hit the little arrow down there in the bottom left? Is that possible? Hey, good call,
I was right.
Grapes.
There we go.
Nice.
Yeah, there's a first strike, and so just, you know, continuing to print money here for Trickster, who actually, as you mentioned, is farming much better than Citywidy in this game. The difference maker, though, has been the rest of the team, even though Trickster is sitting at those 2 items as he just completes that Shadow Flame. The rest of Cincinnati Fear haven't really been able to hold much of a candle to the big 5v5 that Taco Gaming has been able to provide.
Yeah, it's less of a straightforward 5v5, I'd say, because they're killing one person at a time, which really helps for the Lissandra. You know, you think of a lot of champions as reset champions, and like they get a huge spike when they get a kill. It's not really often you get that from Lissandra, but by all accounts, she is still one of those. If you kill one person, then the rest of the team fight plays out very, very differently thanks to the passive, as we already saw previously. So if Taco Gaming can continue this and they can continue finding pick after pick after pick, you will start to see the team fights become more of that standard 5v5 and become just really well organized by Taco Gaming like they had in the last game.
Yeah, the one by one like kind of style is definitely available for both of these teams. You got Shochi, Citywidy, and Sketch over on the other team as well. And Lawrence barely is able to transform in time, but will burn down. The flash is failed by the Gnar, and Dragoon lands in with the parlay.
You know what? You win some, you lose some, Lawrence. You got the solo kill last time. You fail the flash this time. It's just the top lane experience.
Now another play potentially opening up. Look at the TP flank from Blaze. Dragoon's gonna follow it as well. Dorka getting locked down here. Has to use the Gale Force to escape. A City Witty with a beautiful time spectrum. All keeps Gorka alive for the time being. Finally, Dragoon will able to finish the job. But look at the time that Taco Gaming has bought. City Witty jumping in with the Heartbreaker. Everybody on Fear is melting as the resets still are able to come through. Shochi has to use the Frozen Claw to get away. And now Cincinnati, they're looking to continue the chase. 3 members of Taco Gaming are dead. But it doesn't look like anybody is going to try and continue the fight. Lawrence teleporting in, hopping, skipping, jumping away. And now Fear headed over to this dragon, trying to make the count 2-1.
Lawrence is about to hit Mega. Can they do anything with that on the side of Taco Gaming? It's only him on the Gnar. City Witty. Oh, he's
gonna go over the pit. He's gonna go for it. The smite will be secured here by Trickster. Got down to about 600 or so, so maybe a little bit risky there, but it was still Fear who were able to pick this one up. We are dead even at gold, dead even in towers, nearly dead even in kills. It is still 22 minutes into the game.
That's so funny that Lawrence went for that one. I guess he doesn't lose anything for it, so you know what? Good on him. I like it. Doesn't quite manage it as there is a smite on the other side, and Cincinnati Fear, 2 dragons, as you said, halfway there for another Infernal Soul. We've had quite a few of those today. As Dragoon, he may have been solo killed the one time, but other than that, he is 5-0 and 2, and scaling up to be quite the monster on the Gangplank. Hopefully having more impact this one than he did in the previous.
And already at the Collector, so going for a slightly more higher damage itemization, I would say here on himself. Might have to survive another gank here. You see Shochi, you see the rest of Taco Gaming hovering around this bottom lane tier 2. It looks like Fear better than to leave Dragoon on an island for much longer, as you can see some support start to open up. But the rest of Fear are able to respond on the other side of the map. Blaze, who has gone for the more tanky build on the Yone, is going to be able to get a nice little split push off and force Shochi to go for the reset.
This Yone build is so filthy in these team fights because you get to be so durable, and the way that the Sunfire passive interacts with Lethal Tempo is really, really
it's so good.
Hold on a second.
Oh my, whoa! Okay, there goes Trickster. Rocket wasn't even needed, I guess. Maybe wanted to funnel the kill into sketch, but either way, big damage coming out from Cincinnati Fear. Trickster starting to come online just a little bit more.
Yeah, just a little bit right there.
Just a little
he
bit.
just completely one-shot someone. Yeah, Talia can still do it. It takes a little bit more, but she still can. As Shochi, some danger. Nice frozen path there.
It is a 4v5 right now for Fear. They still have Dragoon pushing down in the bottom lane. Doesn't have the teleport, but will have the Cannon Barrage if anything ends up going a bit awry. Rovix has returned from the Death Realm, is marching his way back into the mid lane. Doesn't look like anyone wants to start up the Baron. Instead, Taco Gaming actually looking for the engage. Lawrence hopping forward. Blaze looking to respond as well. And a nice usage of that tether to keep the rest of his team alive.
Clever Yone E from Blaze, who again is super tanky, so he doesn't actually care too much if he gets hit by a lot of these skill shots or anything. And yeah, like I was saying before, you get just so much damage with Lethal Tempo and the Sunfire Cape passive, and it works on all of your Qs as well. The Mortal Steel, as I believe it is called, for Yone. It's because Steel Tempest is Yasuo. Yeah, all right. I'm right. Yeah, it's really, really good. I know because I am an Udyr player.
I played some like Lethal Tempo Jarvan with Sunfire Cape.
Yeah, it's good there too.
It's really, really fun, especially if you like to start to get really far ahead and you start like bashing people.
Do with Belveth too. You don't need Lethal Tempo on that champion either.
You kind of just get like automatic Lethal Tempo in a way
kinda.
on that champ. So a lot of different interactions here with the Immolate, and it looks like Blaze is using that to pretty good standards at the moment. And for Fear, gonna need to continue to put themselves in good spots to try to take this game home, but we are dead even at this point, Max. I have a feeling we're going to crest that 60-minute mark in this game too, whether it's for Taco or Fear sending us to game 3.
I am feeling the same way. So we have a bit of a heart monitor down at the bottom. I think our patient is not very stable, Grapes.
There's a lot of different, like, I know like Hawk likes to call it like the trampoline. I guess we got the heart rate monitor here. A lot of different ways to kind of describe how this up and down nature goes. Sine wave, I think Rebel Fox went for a couple times.
Yeah. If it's a trampoline, then I'm less concerned than if it is a heart monitor, because again, it does not look super healthy. Should probably get that checked out.
Yeah, we're kind of
if-
hovering right in between
while you
right
still
now.
can. 'Cause anyway, I'll stop being so morbid. We have again the gold is just swinging super heavily, and that is including the Gangplank passive. So apart from that, Taco actually does have a slight lead. They might be using it to set up for a Baron. Wow.
Yeah, look at everybody on side of Fear. They are all towards the mid lane. Dragoon still bot, and this Baron gets burned down so fast. Already below half HP. Sketch might not even have an attempt to steal. Shoji's gonna go forward and lock down the Jinx. The fight is already interrupted. The Baron will be secured by City Witty, but nobody on Fear has died just yet. Shoji flashing away from the rocket, and finally, Robux actually the first to fall. Fear getting the resets. Watch Sketch untouched onto the back line. Heartbreaker forward, not going to be able to be taken down. And it's just 3 dead on the side of Taco Gaming. They get the Baron, but at what cost?
Ooh, Gorka. Does he live with the Baron empowered recall? Yes, he does. 2 Barons remain for Taco Gaming, as like you said, they give over 3 members. We'll see what they can do with the buff. Really, you only need the 1, as long as you have that person in the wave with you that you're trying to push. But it's not just the kills that Cincinnati Fear are going to take. It's going to be a 3rd dragon for them on Soul Point now, and that's going to give them just so much pressure for the rest of this game, as long as they can overcome this Baron, which is now going to be a bit annoying for them.
Yeah, in a bit of a weird spot right now where you kind of win the fight, lose the Baron. You can see the Baron power play at a very small number, actually less than whatever the kind of passive gold is from securing the objective in the first place.
It's
But Taco
1,500.
Gaming, yeah, so they, I guess technically a net minus 1,200 off of that fight. And really nicely played here by Cincinnati Fear. Dragoon playing a massive role in Sketch, getting the resets there, obviously huge as well.
The Sketch resets are what we need to see in the rest of this fight. He did use both of his summoner spells, and Shochi has Lysandra Ultimate. That is the thing that Taco Gaming need to be aware of in this next fight and use well. Cincinnati Fear also need to be aware of this and keep Sketch as far away from Lysandra as humanly possible.
It's going to be a tough task with all the gap closing that Taco Gaming have in their wheelhouse, and you saw how important it was in that last fight. Of course, the Frozen Tomb came out, Sketch cleansed it, he flashed away, even the Everfrost didn't actually end up connecting. But there's just so much lockdown on Taco Gaming with this Lysandra pick, and so Sketch definitely has to continue to be careful here, as he will likely kind of evolve into one of the big win conditions for Fear to keep themselves alive in the quarterfinals.
All right, Cincinnati Fear. We've seen them dig themselves out of bigger pits so far in this entire tournament split in the summer. They started the OQ 3-2. They had to play every single possible game in their group stage in the first tournament. And after all that, wait, hold on.
Found a pick. Sketch, Trickster getting locked in potentially, but Shochi uses the ultimate on himself defensively. Flux dashing forward. Rocket picking up Shochi, and now Sketch has been unlocked. Blaze into the back line as well with the Fate Seal. Dragoon is now dominating on the Gangplank City, but he gets 1 reset, but that is all he shall receive. As Dragoon gets another shutdown for the double kill. Only Rovex and Lawrence survive here, marching down mid lane.
Uh-oh. Lawrence
Oh no.
has spotted a Leona. I don't think he's going to be able to recall here, Grapes.
Now the question is, what do Fear decide to do? Lawrence can continue to be a bit of a menace here. Finally will lock him down is Flux. Dragoon coming in as well, but Lawrence actually ends up picking the first kill up, approaching Meganar, but it's not in time. Dragoon 10-1-4 on the GP.
A lonely Lulu survives, and Cincinnati Fear are attempting to take down these structures. They have to worry about the death timers, and they will not be able to secure the inhibitor, but a team fight is exactly what they needed in the end here at Grapes. Sketch, again, able to survive, doesn't even need to use his cleanse or anything of the sort in that one. He's not under any threat, and Cincinnati Fear, with that, have acknowledged how they need to continue playing through these fights. Keep Sketch alive. He has 4 items now on this Jinx. Seems very similar to what we saw in the last series, where if 180 carries just up all of these items, and they're just so threatening in these team fights, and if they're staying alive, then that team's gonna win.
And it seems like despite all the attention that Taco Gaming seemed to be focusing in onto Sketch, still able to survive. I think crucially though, Shochi went for the pick onto Trickster, not Sketch in that fight, which allowed for the resets to come through, even and allowed the timers to kind of go back to where Sketch now has both of his summoner spells available once more. So it's going to be, again, difficult for Taco Gaming to lock down this Jinx, especially now that they're 5,000 gold ahead and are 1 minute and 10 seconds away from securing an Infernal Soul.
Cincinnati Fear, they really want the extra bonus damage. All these champions can really use it. There aren't really any champions that don't use Infernal Soul, well, if you think about it. Maybe Janna.
Yeah, I mean, you've seen like the AP Genic where the W just like one-shots people. I mean, that can happen. Maybe not as much.
I don't really find myself pressing W on people in team fights late game as Janna, though. I usually find myself pressing all my shields.
Pressing E and R. Yeah.
And, yeah, and ulting once, maybe a couple of tornadoes, maybe dying.
Maybe dying.
Ooh. Lawrence is in the pit. As they try on
be,
Taco Gaming side to look for this dragon. They need to make sure Cincinnati Fear cannot secure it, and so they're here first. It just might not matter because of all of this damage that they have to cut through.
Oh, Blaze gets rooted up a little bit. Will have the tether to get himself back into a safe spot. It seems like Spax in each of these fights, whoever gets the first pick ends up coming away huge, and they might have found something on the Sketch, gets locked in by the Everfrost, but is unable to continue the damage, and now Shochi in a bad spot, gonna get locked in by the likes of Trickster, uses the stopwatch against the Rocket, so no resets just yet. Watch the other side of the fight though, Lawrence in the middle of everybody, pops the stopwatch of his own, nobody has died in the fight, but finally Sketch lands it in with the final zap, and now Fear are going to be trying to chase down the remainders of Taco Gaming. The phase field goes out, Blaze gets locked in for a little bit longer, and they are still looking for the picks, looking for the kills. Look for the return though. Shochi going for the reset, going for a teleport. The fight around the soul is here. Here comes Gorka, big Moonlight Vigil, and he steals away the dragon. Now, can they win the fight? Sketch coming out, dealing with so much damage with the Rockets. Dragoon now legendary, has everybody on Fear remain alive. Gorka now has to run for the hills as him and Rovex are the lone survivors for Taco Gaming. But Gorka might be able to fight his way out of this. He has red-blue. This is a good combo in order to try to take down his likes in the 2v2, but it is not enough. Dragoon is legendary. The barrels do so much. The parlays do some too as well. And Rovex has to run as 4 members from Taco Gaming go down.
Oh man, Grapes, that was as good as it was ever gonna get for Taco Gaming there. They got all of these flanks. They even stole the Infernal Dragon, but they still can't kill a single person. Cincinnati Fear are playing these team fights like clockwork. Sketch just cannot be killed. And I want to take a look at, okay, we're a little bit further into this fight, but we're able to take this entire dragon with Gorika's ultimate. There's nothing else to do after that, though. Everything is already done. There's so much durability on the side of Cincinnati Fear, and Taco Gaming just, they just can't do anything.
It's a nice attempt by Gorka on the backside of this fight. Nearly was able to take somebody down with him. Dragoon, man, so strong on this GP. Talking about how Sketch gets the resets, but Dragoon also doing a really big amount of DPS. 12-1 now.
Yeah. 12-1. I didn't even know.
Ridiculous.
That's a lot. A lot of kills on this Gangplank. More than the last game. I will say a lot of credit to him. I don't think this game is going to last too much longer, although we did definitely surpass the hour mark, so everyone is maybe wrong on the under. I also think we're getting a game 3,
I'm gonna hold my L with pride here at this point. Moonlight Vigil doing a lot of damage here as it looks like Taco Gaming going for a bit of a final defense. Here comes the stun. Lawrence has to flash away. Citywitty's still pretty tanky up in the front line, but the Rocket coming out from Sketch picks up the first kill. Inhibitors are being attacked. The vid one will go down soon by the L1 up in the top lane. And now it is Trickster going forward with the Weaver's Wall, locking in the bot lane of Taco Gaming. Gorka chunks down, Blaze with the Fate Seals forward. Trickster has to pop the stopwatch, will end up going down, and Citywitty is still alive. Fear are not able to end the game just yet.
Oh, they have so many minions, although they don't have their jungler anymore. The Baron's still alive for about 70 seconds. Look at all this damage.
1 HP. The Sketch is still alive. Citywitty trying to find the resets with the Heartbreaker. Will pick up 1. Now with the Leona, has the durability. Will not be able to finish anybody else off top of that. Gorka still raining in the damage. Shochi trying to lock down Blaze, but Sketch is still alive. And Sketch is taking us to game number 3.
Okay, 2 game 3s in a row on the stream as Sketch pads his stats, takes all of those minions, and ties up the kill leaderboard with his top laner. Nicely done to Cincinnati Fear in those late game skirmishes and setting the AD carry up for success.
What is?
You've got an L there.
I'm gonna take it aside. I am muted.
You're not muted. You're good.
What? Okay, that weird chain of events here. Cincinnati Fear did not go for the 2-0 over Taco Gaming, but they ended up with a very strong victory nonetheless. It was a really good fight back from TG, but unfortunately not enough in the tank. The damage was just too much. And there we go. That's the other album cover from Deserex. It's a bit of a Dragoon smash there in that game number 2.
Dragoon Smash! Let's go. The Gangplank performance. I love it. I always love getting Dragoon into those moments. And, you know, he and Sketch, they may have been tied by the end, but Dragoon was the one getting all those kills. Legendary very early on into that game. Cincinnati Fear, they're doing it again. We might have 2 reverse sweeps on the same stream.
It would be quite a sight to see if it ends up going down, as we had the heart rates going over, and then this is not, is this a heart? Is that even possible on the human body to just like go all the way down like that and not come back up?
I don't think that's a good thing to have happen to your heart, Grapes.
You might have to call your doctor.
Oh man,
high blood pressure.
You know what? With that win here for Cincinnati Fear, you know what this means, Grapes? We are going to a Game 6 Poggers.
Game 6 of Hoggers indeed. Cincinnati Fear looking to get their way back into the semifinals, and Taco Gaming have one more chance to keep their top 6 hopes alive. But to break down what just happened there in game number 2 and to get us ready for game number 3, we're going to send it over to Hawk and the desk. Take it away, guys.